All right, it's Jeff Sweatman and Jacqueline. We are backstage at Charlottesville Pavilion before the big Avett Brothers show tonight, and we're joined by the full band. Thanks for talking with us for a few minutes here, guys. How's it going?
Doing great. Very good.
Doing great.
Well, I guess we'll let Jacqueline start off the questioning period here because she had a chance to talk to you guys years ago for a print publication in North Carolina. So, and she's a North Carolina girl, so
Cool.
Take it away.
Cool.
Born and raised in Burlington.
Yeah.
So, of course, my first question would be, how did the change from North Carolina to California for recording affect this album?
Not too much at all. We didn't really. I mean, it could have been in London for all we cared, really. We left the. Well, it changed because I guess the grocery store we went to was a Vons instead of a.
Teeter.
Yeah.
But the Starbucks was still the Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just stayed in the studio. We're a little too work oriented when it comes to it. So, we were in Malibu. I never saw the beach, not once, and we were there for a month. So,
What role did Rick Rubin play in the newest album, and is he going to work with you guys again?
in the live record, you mean?
Actually, the newest studio album. I meant.
The new studio, he was producer, and his description of being producer, I think, has changed over the years, and it's probably not a conventional definition to most. He was relatively unintrusive, but it was more like a collaboration than it was somebody telling us this and that and what to do. So he was more about enhancing what we already do. So, but he was present and very involved without being, once again, intrusive and in the way or changing our game plan. He's really brilliant in the way he was able to be there in such presence, but not in the way.
Of course, I'm curious, the moment you find out Rick Rubin wants to work on your record. Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't. It didn't come through the pipeline that he wanted to work on a record with us. It was more of like at first kind of a rumor almost that he was a fan and that he was possibly interested in meeting us. And the first time we saw him, first time we spoke with him, was at his house, like on his back porch. Like first time we talked to him at all, he invited us to his home. So very hospitable, very friendly, like right off. So that meeting was just mainly for us to do a lot of talking. He just wanted to know kind of where we were and what our plans were. And basically by the end of that meeting, we just, we're just sitting there, we're talking very, very comfortable, very relaxed. And at the end of it, he basically just said, well, if it can make sense for us to work together, I would love to. I'm on board if you guys want me on board. And if in some capacity we can work together, I would like to, So it wasn't like scratching a lottery ticket or something, and it wasn't like, and it, it never felt like that. And we've mentioned many times before, everything with us has been relatively gradual. We're in our 10th year as a band, so we're beyond the teenage stage of giddy excitement. We get giddy about our songs. We get giddy about stage, shows sometimes, but like business type stuff, it doesn't really, make us giddy exactly. But we were, we respect Rick a lot, obviously, and he let us know right off that he respected us. There was a mutual respect there. And when he said that he would like to work with us, it just felt good, like it felt right, And so we just tried to steer the boat towards that. So it was great, but it was understandable and a natural kind of deal.
That would have been one of my questions. I think you told me years ago that it felt very gradual, and I wondered, if you're all looking back now, if it still feels that same way.
It still does. I think so.
Early 2005, we would have said anything like that because we were just so green.
Comparatively, yeah.
Well, it was funny because some of my friends were going to see y'all play at a wedding, and then there was this thing, you're playing this huge thing in Wilmington. So I really felt like I caught you in this really crazy time where you were probably still filling these commitments, but also really watching your success kind of blossom.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate for that time, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank y'all so much for talking with us.
Thanks a lot.
Our pleasure.
Looking forward to the show.
We are
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Cool.
All right, well, we are backstage here at the Intellis Wireless Pavilion in Charlottesville. Of course, tonight is the big night. the legendary Giveback concert with Cheerwine and the Avett Brothers, completely sold out. And we are back here with the Avett Brothers. How's it going, guys?
Very good. Thank you for having us.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, good to see you again. And I think it was 2 years ago we did kind of an interview backstage thing with the full band here. And then last year we had you guys pick a My Corner playlist for us, and that was awesome. And my first question is in relation to that event last year, because I was an idiot and didn't ask you. It was right in front of me. You picked a Bob Dylan song, which was awesome, and you guys had just played the Grammys with Bob Dylan, but I didn't ask the follow-up question of how was that?
Well, it was. I mean, it was just as surreal and it was an honor and fantastic as you could imagine. It was. Bob Dylan was very, very polite and very friendly and very welcoming for us to speak with him and talk about what we were doing and the chords we were playing. And T-Bone Burnett was producing with us, like helping talk about how we would do the field recording style performance. And it was great to see Dylan work. It also felt very much like we were part of like a union or something with another guy. Like we were all hammer swingers, like we were all in the same business, and we were just going to work to do what we did. And here was a guy who had been doing it for many, many more years than us, but it felt very colleague-like.
Well, and Mumford & Sons were part of that kind of medley thing, too. Have you been able to kind of keep in touch with those guys at all, or they've really had a good year, too, this year?
They've had a pretty good year, huh? I'll get an email occasionally from Winston, and, the guys are super sweet fellas. And, their story is one that is just super, super extraordinary, the way they have had the business success that they've had and the record sales that they've had, and very deserving, very they've really put in the work. As I see where they've gone, they've really, really gone to work as far as the amount of places that they've gone and played for people. It's really terrific. It's really terrific in the landscape of music now to see these things on radio. It's bizarre and beautiful.
Totally. Well, I was thinking, too, you guys could tell a little bit of the backstory with your relationship with Cheerwine, because I know you've done some voiceovers for their stuff. We had Patterson Hood in a couple weeks ago, and I was kind of teasing him about being a future voiceover guy, because I just love his speaking voice. Well, and from Drive-By Truckers. Yeah.
First time we were ever here, we played with the Drive-By Truckers.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And sure enough, that is the story of how we got to know. I mean, other than drinking Cheerwine and knowing of the company, because we were local to it growing up, doing the voiceover work, which is something that I went to school for some in college and was pretty intrigued with, and I admire that type of work, and have done some since with NASCAR. But that was the beginning of this relationship. We realized we had some philosophical similarities, that's the word.
There you go.
Similarities in our business philosophy and our take on kind of an overall family perspective of working.
Well, cool. And how involved was the band, or was it Cheerwine's main decision to kind of pick the city and the charities, and how involved were you guys in that process?
We were moving so fast that we were saying yes.
It was a question of they would make suggestions, and we the suggestions they made we loved, so we said yes, let's do it. Sounds great.
Very cool. We're talking backstage here before the Intellis Wireless Pavilion show with the Avett Brothers in Charlottesville. And, well, I got to get a couple of requests out of the way. I know you did 2 sold-out shows here last year about this time, and I didn't go to the first one. I went to the second one, and you guys did Spanish Pipe Dream at the first one. So I got to get my John Prine request in there if you can do that. And I got a coworker that wants to hear January Wedding, because apparently you left that out of both of the shows last year. That's what she said. I can't believe it, but
we'll keep those upstairs.
We haven't written the set list yet.
That's right.
So there's still time.
There's still the option.
Yeah. Wow.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Well, I know it has been a very trying year for you guys, and the big fans of the band already know about the situation your bass player Bob's been going through. So I thought maybe you could give us an update on how everything's progressing in regards to that.
Sure.
Progressing. is a good word for it. Things are going well. Very much a day by day kind of process. Not getting too much into the details of it. There's a lot of reasons to be thankful, and a lot of positive things that are happening with that. The illness itself is so rare that there's no template for knowing where recovery should be at any given point, but definitely all steps forward, and definitely a lot of lessons learned from it, and it's been huge for Bob and for the Crawford family, and huge for us as a band to learn so much from it. But on the whole, it's moving in a positive direction.
That's great to hear. And I wanted to ask you guys about maybe some of the extra songs that you recorded. How many songs in all got recorded for the Carpenter versus how many made the album? And do you foresee any plans?
I think we attempted maybe 22 or something, 23, something like that, and 12 songs on the Carpenter, I think. So, and I think all in all, there's maybe 7 or 8 quote unquote leftovers. And right now we're just in sort of discussions and talks about how those can see the light of day. We'd like them to see the light of day sooner than later, but how that makes sense, we don't know just yet. But they certainly are. None of them are songs that read to us as outtakes, so to speak. They all feel like they are very much a part of the whole process. So we want those to be shared with folks. So we're working on it.
Cool. Another Gleam EP maybe or something like that? Do you have an idea when you put those Gleam EPs together?
We do have an idea usually when we do that, and this seems a little more not focused, but communal than that. And this is, we basically recorded almost 2 albums during the process of recording the Carpenter. So these songs really belong in the group. They're relevant beside the Carpenters, so that will dictate a little bit how this comes out. And the Gleam is somewhat of a separate thing, but there is plenty. Seth and I, there's a lot that happens when we get together in quiet moments off the road. Things are always happening with songwriting for us. We inventory quite a bit when we do get home and get moments together, and that's where the Gleam lives for sure. In those quiet times in the kitchen where we're throwing ideas back and forth, and that usually happens right there.
Cool. Well, I think it's the Target version of the Carpenter has a couple of bonus tracks from the I Am Loving You sessions, right?
Sure does.
And I was wondering about the studio down in Asheville that you guys record in. Is that your own studio, or I know there's been some other things like you worked with G Love down there. Just maybe talk a little bit about Asheville and that studio. We got a sister station down there too. So
yeah,
it's kind of it reads as a home studio for us as far as upper echelon. A place that's got all the capabilities. We live about 2.5 hours from there, but we have a lot of connection to the studio and a lot of experiences there. We did record Emotionalism there. We recorded the vast majority of the Carpenter there. We did a lot of I Am Loving You there as well, a lot of overdubs and building of I Am Loving You there. We did Fixin' to Die there, and it's kind of a go-to for us, a place we feel very comfortable. The town is and the studio is, and it's a converted church. A lot of soul in the room, a lot of love in the room, in the walls, in the spaces. So it's a place we feel comfortable. I feel like we can get a lot of work done without too much distraction. And so yeah, that's where our minds go. We're not opposed to recording other places. We've had a lot of really good experiences. It's called Echo Mountain, Echo Mountain Studios.
Cool. So does Rick Rubin come to you guys then, or I always thought he was based out in L.A.? Maybe just a funny or goofy Rick Rubin story for us. I just think that guy's fascinating. So
well, he is fascinating, and his fascinating qualities in person are very well placed and more subtle and more solid than how we probably like to romanticize. How fascinating people are.
He doesn't like. You wouldn't use the word eccentric to describe Rick if you when you know him. It doesn't. That would never enter your mind. But he does employ modern techniques, which is good for us. Like, he didn't come to North Carolina, but he was as involved as he was on I Am Loving You, where he was in the studio with us every single day. But we just stayed in touch, email, phone calls, whatever. When we're in California, go to his house in the living room, talk about the songs, talk about where they are, take notes, make suggestions and just stay very in touch. He doesn't feel like it's necessary to physically be there while we're recording the record, and we agreed. So.
Yeah. I think he really wants to make sure we have room to do what we do.
And are comfortable when
it comes to ideas about instrumentation, that stuff, those type of fundamentals come from us, and it's all post that part of the process that Rick's input, snowballs. It's more and more, but he's there from the get-go. But we knew him more going into. We knew him in a more intimate way going into the Carpenter than we did with I Am Loving You. So in I Am Loving You, he was there physically every day. For this record, we reached out and said we'd really like to be in North Carolina. That's going to be tough for you to bounce back and forth or whatever you need to do. So we can, just like Seth said, with technology, we can do it remotely, no problem.
Well, cool. And I happened to see you guys at Bonnaroo this year, and I thought that was kind of a crowning achievement for the band to be on the main stage there. Did you guys kind of feel like that was, I don't know, some sort of hallmark for the band, like, maybe more so than another festival, or because you guys have kind of grown up playing basically all the different size stages at that particular festival? And do you see any future plans to release that set? The way it turned out, so great. It seemed like you guys were just on fire.
Filmed. It looks really nice. With no plans, but it surely was a lot of people, and looked amazing, and the energy and the power there. There's been a couple others this year that have been equal in that. The Atlanta show, the Houston show, the ACL that we just did was similar vibes, and we'll take them all day long. Bonnaroo is one that we have been to 4 times now, and it's been
have a very personal relationship with it. It definitely felt big. A lot of times, you just sort of glaze over that and just get down and do your thing. But I definitely got to say, actually, I saw a photograph from the side stage afterward, and I was like, good God, that is really a lot of humanity out there. It felt great. It felt big. I haven't seen any of the footage or heard any of it, but it definitely felt really, really good, and will be one we remember.
Yeah.
Well, and I could tell there was a bunch of Carolina girls surrounding me, so they were all jumping around and loving it, singing every single word from even the early stuff. So
nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for picking Charlottesville and for doing the Give Back thing, and we'll see you tonight.
Thank you so much.